I'm going to share with you 5 things that I wish I knew when I started vending lemonade and kettle corn over 14 years ago. If I'd have known these things earlier, I would have made a lot more money a lot sooner. So let's go through these 5 things I wish I knew when I started. This is Mike, the Caesar. That's right, the Caesar of concessions is back with another video for you today, my friends. All right. Well, the first thing I wish I knew, and I wish I started from day one, was to have a chip rack at my table. How simple is that? And I didn't realize until like year 4 how great this thing is. All it is, it's a rack with clips on it, and you can put like bags of chips or cookies, donuts, candy bars, whatever. You can put a lot of things on a chip rack, and you can make these products be diversified within your menu. If you're doing, fresh squeezed lemonade only, maybe you want to have chips, right? Something salty, so they'll want to buy that, buy lemonade, whatever. There's several reasons why chip racks are just phenomenal. Number one is if you're buying chips, cookies, donuts, you're talking 30 to 60 days on expiration, right? So that's great. If it doesn't, sell out for you or whatever this weekend, they'll be there next weekend. Another great thing about it is the chip rack, and I tell people this all the time. I think it's funny, maybe people don't, but the chip rack is by far our best employee. Chip rack never complains. The chip rack works 7 days a week. It's on the tables, it's in the windows of our concession stands, and it's on the tables of our mobile event. Every mobile event, we have chip racks out no matter what we're selling. Now, it doesn't mean it's necessarily chips every event, because we want to make sure what we're selling on the rack goes with what we're having or whatever. But what it does is it brings you a stream of revenue that you wouldn't ordinarily have. I was talking about this last night in our workshop in our membership section. It's only $2 a month. You can do workshops, and we're taking a deep dive into chip racks and making alternative streams of money through the food business last night. $2 a month, you get exclusive content that the general public doesn't see. You get workshops within our Discord server where we voice chat back and forth, and you get some mentorship from me. The link will be in the description. $2 a month for that. Chip racks are just fantastic. The number 2 thing I wish I knew, and I didn't start this soon enough. I started this about year 3.5 of our business on accident, just because we wanted a job so bad. And that is bringing in other food items much quicker. I mean, I would have started from day one with lemonade, kettle corn, and probably pretzels or nachos, right? I'd have done that from day one, and I didn't. It took me like 3 years to realize that I was missing all kinds of money because I was only selling lemonade and kettle corn. So that's the only market I had. Yeah, I had different flavors and stuff like that, but if they didn't want lemonade or kettle corn, they didn't want my product. So I was noticing all these food trailers, lining up and getting big lines while I'm over here with my lemonade and kettle corn just doing okay or poor. So it took me a while, about 3.5 years, to realize I need to be adding other food products to my business to capture a much larger market share. Next, I did not realize, guys, how extremely competitive kettle corn and lemonade vending is. I mean, there isn't many events that we haven't done throughout the years where there hasn't been competitors of the same type of product out there. Now, I didn't realize that. Like when I first got in, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to sell lemonade and kettle corn. It's going to be great. It's going to be fantastic. I am on the cutting edge. Well, no, I was not on a cutting edge 14 years ago, and I'm still not on a cutting edge with lemonade and kettle corn because so many people sell it. I wish I realized how stinking competitive this industry is when I got into it, and I would have made different plans to to offset the competitiveness, like chip racks or adding other potential food products to bring in more revenue. This video is thankfully sponsored by kettlecornmachine.com. Check them out for the best lemonade equipment and kettle corn equipment in the market, guys. Their equipment has a warranty. Most equipment manufacturers don't. Check them out. kettlecornmachine.com for all your lemonade and kettle corn vending needs. Next, number 4. I did not realize, this one didn't take me too long, about 6 to 8 months, maybe a year in, how I was overbuying so much, and waste was just taking money out of my pocket right and left. And I didn't quite understand the gravity of the situation. Now, will it destroy your business right away? No. Unless you buy way overbuy, but it will slowly start cutting in to your bottom line. And not controlling waste was a huge problem for me, and I didn't understand why I wasn't making as much as I should on net returns, right? Because I was having to throw product away eventually that got bad or whatever. So on the waste side, I was losing quite a bit of money because my lemons would get moldy. I would pop too much kettle corn for an event. I had to wait a week to resell it. It wouldn't be very good. So I was having poor quality, right? And so I just ended up throwing that stuff away. And I had this mindset that I got to capture every person that was coming through the event. Well, that was kind of backwards. What I've learned was because I was always overbuying to compensate to try to capture every person. Instead, what I learned was try to sell out. Not sell out an hour into the event, mind you, but have a reasonable expectation of a profit goal. Try to reach that goal. And when I sell out, great. I'll just sit there for an hour with nothing to do, clean up, and get ready to get out of there. And I didn't realize how powerful that was. And then once we started focusing really on selling out, our net profit really started ticking back up because we virtually had no waste. And we try to sell out even today, 14 years later, we try to sell out of a lot of products all the time. So we what? Don't have waste and don't lose money. And the last thing, hopefully you stayed around long enough for this one because I think this is really, really important that hardly anyone ever talks about. When you're full-time, this doesn't necessarily relate to the part-time people because you do it part-time and you can do it whenever and mix and match, and that's great if it's a side hustle for you. But if you're full-time or you're thinking about going full-time, you may not realize that every weekend is booked. Well, it should be. And you're missing out on so many things in your family's life and other parties and just other stuff because your business takes up every weekend. Now, it is what it is for us. And our family realizes this now after all these years. But at first it was hard. They're like, hey, Mike, can you and the kids come and do this or do that? And I'm like, no, we're working. And it kind of upset some people or whatever, but that's okay because that was our business and what we had to do. I'm actually going to share a bonus one with you. I didn't even write this down in my notes, but it kind of leads me to this next topic. When we first started out, excuse my dog, he's drinking. Hopefully you don't hear that. And I have far too long in the video to edit it, so here we go. The last thing I want to talk about is people when we first started telling us, that the business wasn't going to work and how negative they were. And I think they're coming from a caring perspective, honestly. They're trying to look out for my family. They just didn't deliver it properly, verbally, the way I would want them to. They said, you're going to fail. You're going to lose your house, this and that and the other. And they were partially right to a point because I was failing my first couple years. But eventually, they were wrong. And I got into my head. I started listening to these people who have no idea about the business, right? Who've never done it. telling me how bad it's going to be for me and my family. Well, I learned I don't listen to naysayers whatsoever. It doesn't matter what I'm doing anymore. I just cut them out. I'm done with them. Because it'll affect me psychologically. I don't want to hear them. I don't want to talk to them because I can't have that bring me down. And that's just for me and the way that I do my life, right? So that's totally up to you and how you want to do that. But these are 6 things now that I wish I knew before I started. This is Mike, the Caesar of Concessions.